Y'all know who it is. It's your boy, I'm that guy, and today I'm doing another middle ground. Vegans versus meat eaters. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Meat eaters is crazy. Yo, chat, if you do like these videos, make sure to like and subscribe. And now let's get into the video.
If you raised an animal, you gave them a name, say it's a baby pig, you raised them from a baby, could you slit that 6-month-old pig's throat?
Yes.
You could do that.
I could do that.
Chat, I won't be honest with you. If it's a one-on-one sesh, nah, bruh. It's a one-on-one sesh. I named the pig. Nah, bruh. I couldn't do it. But if it was like a group thing, like there was a bunch of pigs and, you know what I'm saying, there was just a bunch of pigs and I knew the specific reason I'm raising them was to be killed and eaten, then probably. It's a more likely chance. Because when the numbers get up, it's like, I don't really know half of y'all, bruh.
Honestly.
Because I understand the cycle of life and I understand that this pig,
Could you slit your dog's throat?
I have invested this time into raising this pig, into developing the nutrients, into, you know, living a safe, comfortable life. And in turn, I get to be nourished and taken care of as well.
Animals are put on earth to be eaten by humans.
Yo, chat, I don't know about all of that, but I feel like if it happens, it happens. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say like a human is put on earth to be eaten by an animal. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say their main purpose or their specific purpose is to be eaten by humans. But if it happens, it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Step forward if you agree with the prompt.
Finally.
So I'm Bella. I am a carnivore, so basically that means I've been on a carnivore diet of eating only animal foods for the past 6 years.
Chat, I'm not gonna lie, now I know what they're talking about. When they say meat eaters, they're talking about a carnivore diet. Chat, I'm not going to lie, the carnivore diet is the diet of absolute pure hell. If you were going to put yourself on any type of diet, the carnivore diet would be the worst diet to put yourself on. Throughout human history, a lot of people like to use human history or human evolution as a way to describe or prescribe what they should be eating. And sometimes it's valid, sometimes it's not. But that's besides the point. People do not, your body is not supposed to eat only one thing or only another thing. But if you were to eat only one thing, vegetables. Vegetables have way more minerals, vitamins. There's way more of a variety of nutrients, specific vegetables that you could eat than animals. Because if you were to only eat animals, I'm not going to lie, your life expectancy is not going to be high, bro.
I was also vegan for 6 years, right before I went carnivore. So I feel like I do have a pretty good sense of how I feel, my health, and the purpose of the food that I'm eating with both lifestyles. So when I was vegan, I actually lost my period. So I was no longer fertile.
Wait, is that what losing your period means? It means you're not fertile? Well, I'm not a girl, so I wouldn't know.
I had extreme skin issues, psoriasis, cystic acne. I had also mental health issues. I used to be...
Chat, I ain't gonna lie, chat. I don't think you can prescribe mental health issues with eating broccoli, bruh. I don't think the spinach is what gave you depression, bruh. I don't think the damn lettuce was giving you anxiety, but hey, man, I'm not gonna take away from your experience. Maybe it was the carrots.
A classical pianist, and I studied at Juilliard for 2 years. Yeah, so, like, I just remember going on stage and I couldn't remember the pieces that I was...
I don't want to prescribe. I'm not a doctor, chat. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. But I want to prescribe the dang, you know what I'm saying, the dang cauliflower to your short-term memory loss. You know what I'm saying?
Supposed to perform. And I was panicking. I was like, what is going on with my memory? Why can't I focus in the practice room? And why am I feeling so nervous and anxious right before stepping out?
I feel like that's just something normal. I feel like that's something normal that people experience. When you're stepping out on stage and getting ready to perform, you're getting, you know what I'm saying? You're getting stage fright. That's what it's called. It's called stage. They literally have a specific word for it. Stage fright. you're getting nervous because you don't want to mess up in front of a bunch of people performing. I don't want to blame that on the, you know what I'm saying? I really don't want to blame that on the baby carrots. I really don't want to blame stage fright on the baby carrots.
At Job Corps, you could work towards a career.
Job Corps provides free schooling, free tuition, free house.
So to me, that says a lot about whether or not the foods I'm eating are
I really don't want to blame, like, chat is, I'm sorry for pausing, but I really don't want to blame this on the oregano. It doesn't seem right.
So when I stopped the vegan diet and went fully carnivore, the difference in my mental health, in my confidence, in my fertility as well was just night and day.
Hey, I want to take away from her experience, so maybe that was it.
Yeah.
As coming from a hunting and conservation background and also in ag, yeah, you'll definitely learn where the denser protein comes from and the higher quality protein. I personally have been, for the last 7 or so years, but basically my whole life, I've fed my family off of almost 100% wild game of some type, whether it be deer or elk or pigs or ducks. You definitely have a closer feel to what you're consuming when you have full control over it. You're not buying it from somebody at the grocery store that who knows where it came from, how it was handled before it got there. And yeah, I think
Came from the grocery
they're
store.
here for you to eat. I don't think strictly for us. I mean, whoever needs that protein takes that protein, and it's been that way for millions of years.
So I'm a raw meat eater, meaning I only
Okay, see, we went from, okay, if you start from the layer of hell, which is the carnivore diet, eating solely animals will cut your life dramatically. All right, there's no animal on this planet that lives a long life eating just animals. The longest living animals, the biggest animals, are herbivores. You know what I'm saying? Not to say they don't have a little, you know what I'm saying, maybe they chew on the little bones once in a while, but I don't know. But just saying. You started at the first layer of hell, right, chat? You start at the first layer of hell, which is the carnivore diet. You're eating only animals. Now you went 9 layers below that, which is raw meat diet. What experience, okay, I hate to be the history teacher, but what in history has shown you that eating raw meat is a healthy way to live? What has the event of fire not taught you? You think cavemen lived long lives, healthy lives? You are an elder if you lived past the age of 16 as a caveman. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Animal products, and I found that, you know, finding myself here, I had to go through a long, extensive journey of finding the truth about what is true about our diets, about nutrition, about...
Dog, there is, dude, what truth did you went down? Because 4chan can't lead you to the truth. It can't, it's, Reddit can only, this is so crazy. How are we devolving as a society, bruh? How we went from fire, cooking, herbs and vegetables, having a balanced meal. How we went from having a balanced meal to now going back to eating raw fucking animals. What is this?
About spirituality as well.
Oh, God.
And I think when it comes to
Literally.
thinking about if we are meant to eat animals and that animals are meant to be eaten by us, we have to remember that we are at the top of the food chain, and being at the top of the food chain, it doesn't mean that we can just go on a rampage and do whatever we want, you know, kill animals and eat them all, but it comes with a responsibility. The strength of being at the top, having the conscious ability to make those long-term decisions and put in the long-term investment to raise animals for food, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of knowledge, and that is something that we humans have the power to do. And so I see it as, yes, we're at the top, but being at the top comes with that responsibility to ethically care for the animals, because it's this beautiful relationship where...
Hey, chat, you know what I'm saying? I thought about it. I thought over it. You know what? Hey, man, let her eat some raw meat. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like, if we really take a moment and think about it, like, maybe she's on to something.
When we take care of the animals,
Maybe
and
she's
like
on
you
to
said,
something.
you eat a wild game, you understand the cycle of life of the animals.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's just
Did you watch The Lion
honoring
King?
this beautiful relationship where we nourish and take care of the animals. In turn, nature
I feel like
rewards
she's basing her judgment off The
us
Lion
by
King. I don't know
nourishing
why.
and taking care of us as well.
All right. Can we have the disagreeer step forward?
It's the circle of life. Jesus Christ.
I think it's incredibly self-centered to say that animals have been put on this earth to feed us. Like, I don't think we should act like the world revolves around us as humans. And you say, you know, that we have the power as humans to raise animals for food and to farm them. We also have the power not to do that. We have the power to treat them with kindness and compassion. And I am a factory farm investigator, a slaughterhouse investigator. I go into these places, 99%.
Chat, she's a snitch. She's a snitch. Everyone that has a factory farm, please don't tattletale.
Of the animal products in the United States come from factory farms, and I've been in these places. It is hell on earth. There is nothing humane that happens in those places, even when they claim that it's ethically sourced, when they claim that it's humane, it is not. There are animals screaming, there are animals dying, there are animals languishing in their own feces on certified humane facilities. And we have the power not to do that.
Dude, I
And
thought I
think
killed
that's
this
the
bug.
conversation we should be having, not that we have the power to do it, so that we should.
I do agree with that sentiment. The reason I disagree with the prompt is that it felt a bit too like anthropocentric for me. Like it's very like human supremacist in a sense. Like I do eat meat. Like I'm omnivore, I guess, but I don't think that their express purpose is, you know, for us to consume them. Like we do live, you know, they're a part of the land, they're a part of the cycle. We do live with them, and we do owe them a degree of respect. I ultimately do oppose the current standard that we have of like factory farming. You know, this is a big intersectional thing actually where it does impact more than just, you know, the environment. It leads to a lot of like indigenous land theft, and to that extent as well, like it's eating up a lot of land. So naturally, I feel like I do resist factory farming and advocate more for sustainable, but not to the extent of like no meat at all. Like I don't think eating meat is inherently immoral. There could be a lot more respect towards life and seeing it more as equal rather than like, oh, we're at the top.
So to say that animals are placed on this earth just to be eaten, it's like saying you agreed with the fact that black people were considered just to be slaves.
Okay. Let's not. Can we come as a world society? You know what I'm saying? Can we come as a world society and stop comparing everything to slavery? Because it diminishes what slavery and what happened during slavery. You know what I'm saying? It actually diminishes it to a great extent, in my personal opinion. Why do we always do this? Why? I couldn't. The leap of absolute hell. I didn't even see that shit coming. It was like the Invisible Man sucker punched me. Why are we doing this? No, it's not like slavery. It's not. The comparison is nothing like slavery. It is nothing like slavery. Let's not make that comparison. Let's stop.
Only here just for slavery. And if you go back in time, looking at ancient history within even, especially just America itself, you look at history, right?
It's not even ancient history.
What do you think of where the word picnic comes from? It's a picnic, right?
Okay, we're gonna have to. No. What? The leap of absolute hell? Picnic comes from pick a what? Oh hell! What the fuck is this dude yapping about?
So you get it, hang up from a tree, And then now,
What the? Okay, chat. Come on, bro. Let's skip over this. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. We're not even talking about vegans versus meat eaters anymore. He's talking about slavery. What is he talking about? He's like, actually, what this means is you agree with slavery. I'm like, how does that even correlate?
Do you ever feel or have any sympathy for what the animals go through when you kill them, how their family feels?
No, not at all. Zero.
Animals are the same, all animals are the same, and especially animals that you kill, to humans in all the ways that really matter. They feel pain, they experience joy, they have families.
Hey, chat, I'm gonna say this right now. The one thing I think we should exterminate, well, two things. It's mosquitoes and flies. Mosquitoes and flies have no families, have no home, have no safety. They only seek destruction. I am petitioning right now for their immediate eradication.
And you are taking their life away from them when you have other options available and you don't have to make that choice.
In
And
the
that's
same
power
way
of personal
people own
choice.
pets, they bring pets into their own care, into their own hands. They love them, they house them. They guarantee that these pets are given food, given shelter. It is no different when we are raising animals for food. And I think if there's middle ground here that we can all agree on, it's that factory farming is unethical. I personally do not support factory farming. I do not purchase from places that support
Big Farm. If you wanna sponsor this video, I will contradict. I will go against everything that they're saying. Not contradict. Go against everything that they're saying. Until that sponsorship comes,
factory farming.
I don't know how I feel about factory
local
farming.
farmers markets, local butchers that are locally sourced, connected to small farmers. And so when it comes to raising animals for food, it is no different knowing that these animals have a
Kellogg,
very
my
direct
line is
impact
open.
on our lives, on our health. We want to love and take care and nourish the animals. And so, animals out in the wild, they have that chance of being dead, eaten, killed, swept away from harsh conditions. They have that chance of contracting diseases from the outside, and they could be dead today. Within our care, presumably on an ethical farm, I think we can all agree, like I said, factory farming, unethical. But on an ethical farm, we are taking the animals into our own care. We are giving them that guarantee of being fed today. They have that shelter today. We have that bond with them today. And we create this beautiful relationship where we
Chat, I'm gonna be honest, bro. This is like a yap fest right now. I ain't gonna lie. I think they answered the question. They disagree with factory farming. Animals are not put on this earth. Let's get one more person to speak before I skip over this shit.
Therefore, we want to nourish this animal, take care of reality.
Capitalism didn't exist at the beginning or bane of our existence, and
Jesus Christ, dude. What are we actually yapping about? What are we actually yapping about? We're on a 15-minute yap fest about the cycle of life. Then we went yapping about slavery. About picnics and slavery. Shit has nothing to do with veganism or being an omnivore or carnivore. And now we're talking about the capitalism. What are we yapping about?
It is a reality because there's 4 people sitting here living proof that veganism is also a reality and also an option. And
capitalism works both ways, right? You think capitalism stops on what you choose to eat, bro? Dude, they're tearing down the rainforest to make soybean farms, bro. You think all your soy and shit is good for the environment? Bro, come on, give me a break, bro. Your shit is just as bad.
Third, I would say that there is no nourishing the animal when the animal didn't have to be brought into existence in the first place. And
you don't think the grass has family, bro? You don't think the trees have family, bro? When does life ever stop having connections to other things, bruh? When do emotions, stop existing, huh? Well, who knows? That rutabaga you ate might have had a whole family, might have been going to rutabaga college. You know what I'm saying? 3 days before rutabaga retirement, and you killed it.
As a vegan, I don't think that most of us support.
And God forbid those broccoli was pregnant. You know what I'm saying?
Dogs or
with little
pets
broccolis.
Either. And when we rescue our animals, they don't have the
Brussels
demise of
sprouts.
being slaughtered at the end.
I would never slaughter my dog. When you're talking about caring for animals that aren't
Yeah,
animals,
we're not talking about slaughtering
you
a dog.
mentioned that you
At the same time,
I'm still
dogs
speaking.
provide. Okay, go ahead.
You mentioned bringing a dog into your home and how we have this relationship with our dogs or cats or other animals in our home, and compared that to animals that are used for food. I would never end my dog's life by killing them or murdering them.
I feel like this is such a weak ass argument. Like, of course you're not gonna of course you're not gonna kill your dog because the dog is not for killing. That you didn't bring it in with the specific purpose of killing it. Now, if it, you know what I'm saying? Like again, if you had a bunch of chickens and you crack the eggs to eat it, it's you're not, you know, or you killed the chicken, you didn't bring the chicken as a pet, you brought it as food.
I want to be very clear. I would
Your
not do that
dollar
either.
and your consumer choice is promoting and supporting the killing of these animals. That
You know, if you, dude, it is so bad. The worst argument I hate for either side is one using the stupid ass cycle of life. I'm killing things because everything dies. It's like, okay, Eugene, all right, everything dies, whatever. But the other side of it is acting as if though eating vegetables puts you on some moral high ground, puts you at some fucking I'm above everything else. Oh, these people are promoting death and destruction. While when I use my dollar to tear down the Amazon rainforest, when I use my dollar to damn destroy, you know, environments to make room for my damn soybeans and my damn cauliflower and my damn you know, my one plantation acres worth of crop, that shit doesn't have any effect on the environment. You know what I'm saying? All those animals that need to die for my soybeans and my fucking tofu, you know what I'm saying? That shit is you know what I'm saying, is mono, you know what I'm saying? It's here nor there. It doesn't make any fucking sense to call this immoral or any, because both sides do immoral shit. It doesn't matter what side you choose.
Feel the same feelings as our dogs that we bring into our home.
But when we bring a dog into our home, aren't we receiving a benefit from that? We are receiving companionship. In return, we are giving this dog food, house, shelter, and love.
I mean, the same thing you could say for a fucking house plant. You know what I'm saying? I don't think about eating my fucking house plants. I bring it in because I want to grow it and see it grow and prosper. But at the same time, if I were to have if I were to grow a plant for the specific purpose of eating, I wouldn't feel no way about it at the end of the day because my mind isn't set on really the nurturing or the taking care of it. Is only for the end goal of me to eat it.
Same thing for when we eat animals. Do you
personally
we benefit
do that
from
to the animals that you eat, or do you just assume that's happening behind doors that you've never seen?
I make that highly conscious decision to make sure I'm voting with my dollar to support the highest quality livelihood for animals.
But
I'm in contact with the farmers that I'm sourcing my meat from.
Have you visited?
I don't know why you're laughing at her. You're acting as if though you're fucking, like I said, your fucking bananas don't come from, you know what I'm saying, slave labor. You know what I'm saying? You're acting as if though your fucking coconuts aren't coming from like some stupid ass plantation. Like what are you talking about? Your shit is not morally any better than a factory farm. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's not animals that are working themselves to death. It's fucking, you know what I'm saying, South American children. Well, you know what I'm saying? You know, at least, you know, the Jungle Book animals are fucking fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least Boots can still swing around trees with Dora or some shit. Who cares, bro? The moral justifications are so bad. Both sides do evil shit. Both sides do evil shit. It doesn't matter.
Animal rights are just as important as human rights.
Hell no. I mean, nah, actually, yeah. Animal rights are just as important as human rights, of course. 시작합니다. I would say animal rights are just as important as human rights. They're not saying animal rights are human rights. That's a different scenario.
It's strange for us to think that humans are somehow superior to non-human animals. You know, we don't question whether non-human animals can see. We don't question whether they can hear. But for some reason, we question whether they are sentient, whether they feel pain. And we question those things because it's convenient for us, because it fits our narrative and it allows these corporations to profit off of their existence, or individuals to profit off of their existence. And I don't view animals as any different than humans. I think that we are all...
I mean, clearly there's a difference. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference. But to respect the rights of an animal is not to compare them to the rights of a human being. You know what I'm saying? They're different.
Morally equal. And, you know, some of my best friends are non-human animals. I run an animal sanctuary, Happy Hen Animal Sanctuary, and I've saved over 1,000 animals. And every single one of them is an individual. They have big personalities and they love to explore, and they all have different favorite foods. One of the chickens who I've rescued, who came from a factory farm, he kind of imprinted on me as a baby, and he was terrified to be left alone. And even if I left him with someone else, he would cry. He just wanted to be with me all the time. He would follow me everywhere. His name is Glenn, and I can't look at Glenn and love him any less than I love my human family, even though he's a chicken, and a lot of people think that's ridiculous. But I think a huge part of the issue is that so many of us humans, we've distanced ourselves so much from non-human animals, and we need to reconnect with them and remind ourselves of their individuality and how important their lives are.
I definitely agree with a lot of the sentiments that you had there. Where I come from is, when I approach at least veganism, ideologically, I do agree with the standpoint of respecting an animal's right. It's, you know, it's an individual, and I kind of make that same connection when it comes to hunting as well. And so, especially, you know, you utilize like all...
Yeah, you don't take more than what you need. You use as much as you absolutely possibly can, and you do pay your respect.
And so that's to the extent that I view it, at least to what it was.
I want to jump into and say that killing is in no way showing respect. When you kill an animal, it is not a way to...
I mean, yeah, you can kill things and show respect at the same time. I feel like that's a misnomer. Like, there are ways to kill things and to show respect. You kill things because I'm hungry and I need to eat. Like, if you kill a plant, you know, I'm not disrespecting the plant, it's just that I'm hungry.
Pay your respects. I mean, I often think, how would I feel if I was suddenly taken away from my family and all I know, my life is taken from me?
It's not a matter of disrespect. It's a matter of heritage. As I'm sure as you guys can relate to in some aspects, when you're raised a certain way, you continue that. If it works for you, you're healthy doing it, it's going to be what you continue to do. And I'm passing that on to my kids. They're going to pass it on to their kids. I've been out in the woods learning my trade and learning how to take care of the environment at the same time since I was 3 years old. It's not something that I take lightly. I'm out there because I do love the animals. I'm not out there to, I'm gonna kill something. If you could go sit and count how many times I go out in the field and just sit there and look around and enjoy nature. And eventually, yeah, I might get to harvest my buck for the year.
I mean, I appreciate that that's not what it's about for you, but even like the way you're speaking about these animals, that you're going to harvest them, shows to me that there's some sort of disconnect there, that you're not.
No, dude, and it's so crazy to me that vegans care so much. They act like they actually give a shit about life. Dude, do you know plants are alive? When you go out and you eat your damn vegetables, you're killing a plant, bro. There is nothing in life. There's nothing in life that you could consume that wasn't alive. There's nothing. Everything that is available to consume is living. And you have to kill it in order to eat it. It's just a fact about life. And to use a stupid ass argument as if though respecting life, if you kill it, you're disrespecting life. You're always killing. You're a constant killer. You're consuming. And that's how you gain energy. Things need to have energy. You kill them, you gain their energy. It's a cyclical process. It never ends until you die. And then the plants will come and eat your ass, and then a cow will come and eat those plants, and then some dude will come and eat that cow.
The individuals
It's,
that they
no, it's not disconnected at all. There are, every animal you look at is completely unique, and it's really cool. It's amazing. But at the same time, there's a food chain. If we're out in Africa and come on a pride of lions, you think they're not going to eat your ass?
But I assume you hunt with a gun?
I hunt with a gun, a bow, camera,
So-
my eyes, whatever I need
So, but you have weapons, and you use those weapons to kill the animal, right?
Ultimately, yeah.
Like when you're talking about this supposedly natural food chain, like lions don't have weapons.
Yeah, they do.
They do. They have fucking big ass teeth. I don't have big ass teeth. I don't have huge ass claws. I don't weigh a damn ton. Elephants have tusk. I don't have fucking tusk. I have a brain. I use that shit to go and kill animals. Not my fault you guys didn't invest in the intelligent
Dude,
staff.
they've got a bunch of them on the end of their
Sure,
fingers.
it's their body. You know, we're not going out sinking our teeth into the throats of animals and ripping.
Dude, and that's such a stupid ass argument, bro. There are so many things that animals have that other animals don't. And that doesn't, and they don't go through their fucking heads thinking that, well, this antelope doesn't have the same teeth as me, or doesn't have the same shit as me, so I'm at a clear advantage, and thusly, I shouldn't kill it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. Of course, things evolve to adapt to their environment, and things evolve to the best of their ability to be able to survive in their conditions. Humans done the same. I make a tool so I can do things better. You know what I'm saying? Animals don't have clothes. Are you gonna take your shit off and go walk around naked? You're gonna fucking die, bro. We don't have fur on our skin. We don't have these natural things that animals do. But it doesn't make any sense to disadvantage yourself because they don't, or we do, or we don't and they do. It doesn't make fucking sense, bro.
Their throats out.
But we can't, so it's not really the food
I can't
chain
fly
any
either.
longer.
Should I not get on an
And
airplane?
let's remember,
Well, no, because my question is, if a gun wasn't given to you as a child, would you have invented that piece of technology yourself? If not,
That shit is such a stupid fucking argument. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? If clothes wasn't given to you as a child, were you inventing clothes? If language wasn't given to you as a child, were you gonna start talking shit? Like, who cares? This argument is stupid. This argument is stupid. Like, who actually cares about this argument, bro?
I don't believe you have the right to use it because it's no longer.
What? Dude, there are so many things that you are not innately given or don't have as a child. And let me tell you, there's nothing. You're given with nothing. You're given... The only things you're given as a child is that the fact that, you know what I'm saying, you're born. Maybe you have a mom or a dad, and that's basically it. Dude, that's so stupid. If you literally have to start everything from day zero, humanity would be in the fucking caveman era, bro.
Longer the natural food
Do you know how to
chain.
make shoes?
What?
Do you know how to make shoes?
This isn't taking the life of somebody
It doesn't
else.
matter.
And I'm not. This has nothing
You don't
to
have
do with the food chain.
you don't have the right to wear shoes if you don't know how to make them.
Thank God he made that stupid ass argument. That shit doesn't make any sense. This shit doesn't make any sense. If I don't know how to make a tool, I don't have any right to use it. Who gives a fuck?
How's that sound?
food chain is such an obsolete and outdated term in today's society. Can a lion go to the grocery store to purchase their dinner? No.
I think a huge
Yes.
difference between, whether or not you have the right to use something like shoes is, in theory, ideally shoes are made by someone who's consenting to make them.
And
Obviously,
so
that's
my
not
God.
always what happens, but
The bug you stepped on the way in here wasn't
No, I'm
consenting
very
to
careful
be...
not to step on
We're
that.
talking about conscious choices we make in our everyday life.
Okay.
Doing the best we can to help, respect, and uphold animals' lives. And you have other options available. You don't have to take...
it doesn't matter. Dude, it is so, the argument of morally or ethically doing something, it's so obsolete. It's so obsolete. Unless you're planning to grow or do what he's doing and hunt the animals yourself, it is obsolete. It doesn't make any sense. Because eventually it's gonna come down to some human rights violation. Eventually it's gonna come down to some animal rights violation. Eventually it's gonna come down to the destruction of some rainforest, forest, environment of some sort. It doesn't fucking matter, dude. All your shit that you're complaining about, moral justifications, they don't fucking matter. There's too many evil people doing evil shit to provide you with something that you want. And there's not enough good options out there or that are regularly available and that it's affordable for you to be doing this moral justification bullshit.
Take an animal's life, but you choose to.
Well,
and that's what
I
we're
feel
talking
upset
to you
because
about.
you guys are eating my food's food?
Most of the animals that are consumed by humanity, they don't even eat other animals. They eat nutrition from the ground, and so, or they get fed soy or what have you. And so it's like we're making this distinction that we have to eat them, but we're basically eating the middleman in order to get the nutrients that we need from the ground that the animal is getting anyway.
Nah, I understand what you're saying. I get it. But at the same time, just being on a plant-based diet is not going to work for me. I can tell you, I don't need to try it. I'm not going to try it. But I completely respect you guys for doing what you do. That's fine. I always come by the motto, live and let live. I really don't care. You guys do your thing, I'll do my thing, and we're good, you know?
But you're not living.
Live is ironic when you're killing.
I'm not talking about that right now.
Dude, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's so crazy that y'all have this fucking disconnect about life. You think vegetables don't grow? You don't think they live? Everything is alive, my dog. Everything is alive, my dog. In order to have anything, you need to kill it. In order to have a house, you need to destroy trees, kill trees, bro. Trees are living things. In order to have clothes, you need to pick cotton. You need to fucking make plantations worth of cotton, destroying environments, destroying biodiversity to have one singular crop. This is crazy to me that you think that plants put you on this higher ground, makes you think like, oh, I'm not taking life. You are killing plants. You're just not killing animals because the plants don't fucking cry or scream. You don't think you're doing anything. But it's crazy to me, bro. It's crazy to me that you guys have this fucking disconnect.
You just said it.
Very
it doesn't just extend to humans.
I'm talking about you four individuals right here, right now. I'm not talking about Bambi. I'm not talking about Baloo the bear over there at Disneyland. I'm talking about you guys right here.
But what's the difference between letting me live and letting a non-human animal live? Like, I don't...
It doesn't, because you're a fucking human, bro. You're a fucking human. And there are fucking things, societal things that we've agreed upon to not end your life for food. You know what I'm saying? On purpose or for the specific reason for you not to be used as a food source. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy to me that you can't find this fucking a lot of people live in this fucking fantasy, this unreal world where they think they're doing some justice, this great good. You're not doing any good. You're doing bad. Everything you could find the evil in any fucking thing if you look hard enough, dude. I found evil in both your arguments. Factory farms, horrible for animals, horrible living conditions, destructive. Plantations, horrible for the environment, horrible for animals, horrible for plants, horrible for every fucking thing on this planet. Because it's so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me that you live on this fucking plane of existence that doesn't exist.
Think that it would be any more wrong for you to kill me right now than it would be for you to go and kill a chicken right now. I think.
Yes, I think if you cannot distinguish the difference, you're delusional. You're simply delusional, because it would be the equivalent of you saying there's no difference between you killing you. There's no difference between you killing that chicken. There's no difference between you cutting down a tree, because all those things require something to die. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense to make this type of moral justification that life is not being taken when I eat a plant. It does. I have to kill the plant in order to eat it. It has to happen. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. All life isn't made equally. All life is different. If all life was made equally, everything would look the same. Everything would be the same because there would be no difference. There would be no purpose. There would be no purpose to make any difference.
I think that would be more
or distinction.
That's your point of view, and that's fine. You're
That's
allowed
so
to feel that way.
crazy.
All right, can we have the disagree step forward?
That's so
At
crazy.
WTI, your success matters. We offer career-focused education with small.
I wish they actually got like actual vegans that had like that were like. I can see the best vegan argument is the health argument, the health benefits of veganism, which are I would say your best way of influencing someone else to become vegan. And that's the reason I would say of course, if you are omnivore diet, you would probably eat 99% plants, 1% meat, just because of how things are laid out. But it's so weird to me that this argument is being made of life and death. I feel like the best argument for a vegan to make is health-wise, which you can just back up by scientific evidence and just the way food. If you want to talk about the food pyramid or the food chain, this food chain is made for most things in life to eat plants and then a little bit of meat on the side. You know what I'm saying?
If we're thinking about animals' rights being equal to that of humans' rights, I feel like that is us not really valuing our own lives. If we see ourselves,
I don't feel like it is. I feel like it's you're delusional. You're putting an animal on the same plane as a human, but you don't see the distinction of life being cyclical. You're not seeing the life as something that's everywhere. You don't look at the trees and see like, oh, the trees are alive, the plants are alive, the soy, the broccoli is alive. These things are all living. The pumpkins are living. These are all living creatures. You know what I'm saying? The only distinction between plants and animals is that plants don't have fucking eyes, ears, or a mouth to be like, screaming or crying or showing any like emotion that would be visually. We could visually see easily, like we could do with animals or other humans. And that's the only difference. They're living creatures as well. But it doesn't make sense to make that argument. I know I'm ranting and yapping, bro. But it's such a stupid
another
argument.
Animal's gonna eat that animal. Like, you don't see animals who miraculously
But I promise you, I won't make this
become
argument
vegan.
again, bro.
And I think that, when you see yourself at this subhuman level, you don't really value yourself.
Chat, if you don't want to be a subhuman, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe. Don't be a subhuman. Be a dubhuman and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe. Actually, be a subhuman. Chat, be a subhuman and subscribe. That shit ain't make any sense. Chat, be a subhuman and subscribe. You know what I'm saying?
And I think when it comes down to it,
I'm gonna cut all
if
that
it comes, there's an animal in here trying to attack all of you, I would value
I wouldn't give a
each and
fuck.
every one of your lives over that animal.
I wouldn't give a fuck about none of your lives. I value my life over all of you. Over every single one of you. If an animal were to come in here and attack all of us, I'm kicking you to the ground. I'm making sure that animal gets full and fat before it gets to me. So I have a better chance of escaping. I don't give a shit about none of y'all, bro.
And so I think when it comes to our rights, I just don't see us at the same level as animals. I would choose the human life over the animal.
So if someone was attacking all of us in here with a gun, would you jump in and be like, yo, shoot me? Or would you try to protect yourself?
I protect myself. And that's the same with the animal. Because I value my human right. I'm a human and I value my life over everything else. But I would value a human's life over an animal's life. You know what I'm saying? If it came to saving a dog or saving a human, depending on who that human might be, I'll save the humans. You know what I'm saying? I said depending because, you know what I'm saying? There's some crazy people out here. I might let you burn
my
up.
life as a human. I value your lives as humans. Of course I'm going to maybe look after myself in that specific scenario. But when it comes to an animal where we are at the top of the food chain, we have that strength, that responsibility, we have that power to take more control over the situation, I would choose the humans over the animal, for sure. Like, would you just allow the animal to attack all the humans.
You're talking about humans as if we're like morally superior to non-human animals.
Well,
and
we have a higher consciousness.
Do we?
We're able
We're
to
the
make
ones-
long-term decisions.
But we're the ones who have factory farms. We're the ones who've committed atrocities throughout.
Dude, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Who cares? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? I've seen Plants of the Apes. I know how this shit goes.
History.
Which,
Oh,
you
flip
know,
the script
is
on me.
unethical, and like we don't have to do that. I think
I'm just saying that we're not more capable of making the right choice than non-human animals.
I think we are. We just choose not to. Like you're doing right now. You feel like you're more capable of making a right choice. You don't feel like you have to eat from factory farms. You can feel like you can eat from a damn soybean plantation, which I argue is just as bad as a factory farm. But who am I? You know what I'm saying?
Looking at our track record,
It's a person looking at shit, you know?
And I don't think saying that we're not primal is a fair argument.
There's humans that
I don't
sexually
think there's
assault other
anything
humans.
primal about making
There's
a factory
humans that
farm.
commit horrible hate crimes against other humans. There's humans that murder other humans, and I think that's a strong testament to the fact that we are no less primal than other animals. You just aren't integrated into their society or culture to understand the reason they interact with each other the way that they do.
Well, so
All
like
right.
when animals
Who
eat other
cares?
animals, is that cruel or is that just part
They
of
don't
nature?
have the option to go to the grocery store and not eat each other.
What the fuck is that argument? What the fuck is that argument even though? They don't have the option not to go to the grocery store and eat. So they're purposely not making the conscious decision of making a grocery store and not starting a factory farm so they can eat other animals. That sounds like a fucked up decision to make, bro. You know what? I will go to the grocery store and at least be, you know what I'm saying, clear my conscience of the blood and the filth, you know what I'm saying, of me looking and suffocating another animal to death to fill my tummy. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, at least I won't have the visuals of the horrors of what taking a life would look like, you know? These sick animals just like the pleasure of it. They get the thrill of taking a life. They could start a factory farm. They just don't want to.
Because that's their way of life. That's why animals.
This isn't our way of life. You have another choice. Your way of life could be either way, and you're choosing the immoral way.
Okay.
So I'd love to chime in. So I was vegan for 6 years, carnivore for 6 years. That day when I ate animal foods for the first time, after being so integrated in the vegan community, absolutely, I felt shame. I felt guilt. I felt so bad, and I was like, do I really have to do this? But I had to be realistic because I literally was dying. I just felt so bad. My health was just not supported by eating only plants. So I would love to bring it
eating
back
only
to
meats, your health will not be supported, but go off.
health. If it is at a
I'm not gonna
cost
take
of a
away from
human's
your
health
experience.
and they are
Maybe it
literally
was.
deteriorating, they're dying, does that mean they have to still fight for animals to the last day that they live just for the animals and just neglect their health, neglect their fertility, neglect their availability to have their own family? So I want to talk about how we can heal humanity first before we talk about how to protect every single animal life. And back to, is an animal's life just as valuable as a human? Yes, but for me, up until when the human has to die for that animal or suffer with their health just to protect that animal.
I guess I'm confused how your answer is that animals are equivalent to humans then, and I would love to hear like kind of more about why you agree with the original prompt.
So like Anne said, vote with your dollar. Just buy meat from regenerative farms.
But that's still.
I don't. This is such a stupid ass argument, chat. I'm just gonna skip over it.
I've been on Shopify from the beginning.
The moral argument is such a
The platform is
stupid
just
one.
never
It
a
doesn't
worry.
even make
like,
sense.
I have so many worries.
It doesn't
but
even
the
make
platform
sense
is
to
never-
make.
Slaughter an animal.
There's no humane way to slaughter an animal. There is a humane way, a quick and easy way. The way that it won't make it suffer. If somebody gave me the choice, you could kill me by doing it quick or doing it slow. I'll choose a quick way. I feel like that's the more humane way of doing things.
I think there are especially inhumane ways to slaughter an animal. I'm actually currently wearing an ankle monitor, and I'm facing up to 5.5 years in prison for rescuing chickens from a particularly cruel slaughterhouse.
I already tell she was annoying. I could already tell she was that tight, bro. Like, dude, if it's cruel, just call somebody or some shit. I don't know. What the fuck are you doing? Running in and saving what? You could carry like 3 chickens from the 3,000 that are probably packed up in there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's awesome work.
That's awesome work. Dude, what the fuck? Who cares? Like,
Purdue's Petaluma Poultry Slaughterhouse, and they were exposed for boiling chickens alive.
Oops, well.
And other atrocities.
Drop it like it's hot.
which
Drop
is
it like it's
obviously
hot.
Sadly more common than people think in slaughterhouses.
Who
But
cares,
even,
bro?
you know, while I am grateful that I was able to save a few chickens from an especially horrible fate, I know that there's still no.
Those hawks are gonna make it so much. You know what I'm saying? Their fate is not yet sealed. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Those hawks might come down and just pluck their feathers out.
Way to kill an animal.
I look at it in the same sense that humane and slaughter actually they don't go together.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see how that's possible. I mean, yes, of course, in the past, would we have considered that slaughter? What I'm talking about is human sacrifices to said gods, and you know.
What the fuck is he actually yapping about? Chat, can you actually coherent? Does he ever make a point where it doesn't lead off into some fucking rant about some random shit? Now he's talking about human sacrifice? Holy, all right, bro.
Different ideologies. They would take the first virgin or whatever, and
Jesus Christ. You know what? I can't deal with this anymore. At this point, it's like, who? Yeah, I don't know.
sacrifice them, and she didn't want to go, but.
Hey, man, maybe she didn't. Maybe she felt like that was her duty. Maybe she felt like, hey, man, if I don't go, everyone's gonna go, so I'll go.
I don't think that I'm afraid of dying or value every moment of my life more because it could be taken away from me. I value the connections that I have with other individuals on this planet, and I don't think about dying. I mean, that's really just not the meaning of life to me. It's not to exist or exist longer. It's about what we do while we're here.
And I think the main takeaway here is sort of what you said, where it's about the idea of, yes, all we truly have is our life, and all animals have is their life. And so I would pose to you, who are you to take away another animal's life when really...
I'm the killer. That's who I am. I am the killer. And I decide if you live or die. And oftentimes I decide you die.
In essence, like you were saying, that's all we have. Who are you to give death to that animal? Who
I
are
am
any
the
of us
person.
to do that? In that regard, our lives are our own. And
I mean, the same way an animal could kill you. You know, who is that animal? It could be a ram, could be a sheep, it could be a lion, could be a cow, but it really doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna hold the animal to the same standard as a human. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna expect an animal to be at the same standard or be at a moral standard like a human, because they're animals. If you don't fucking feed an animal, they're gonna eat, bro. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter, bro. They're not gonna be like, well, guys, we might be animals, but we gotta be at a. Who are we to start ripping off the faces of certain people? You know what I'm saying? Who gives us that right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't. Like, who? Like,
we shouldn't
what?
be taking the lives of others when we don't need to.
Again, for me,
Who
it's
cares,
so
bro?
important that we talk about what is going to support optimal health. Anne said she wants to.
I feel like this is the best fucking argument to have. Health. Because if you don't have health, what do you have? You're gonna live a miserable existence, bro. Health is the best argument you could have. Not this fucking moral high ground. Because you don't have any moral. There's no moral high ground to have.
Survive. I want to survive and thrive. You talked about wanting to have a meaningful life, meaningful conversations, maybe meaningful friendships and relationships. If eating meat, sustainably raised, can support somebody having a meaningful life, I don't think we should be shamed for choosing to eat meat. So you guys said the word anomaly a lot with my case. If you take 2, 3, 4 hours just immersing yourself in the meat-eating community, you actually will see a lot of vegans who have had to quit that diet because their health also declined. So in my eyes, I don't see this as an anomaly. A lot of people are suffering because they think this vegan diet is the best diet in the world and you can save the planet, but it's not.
Well, I think the issue is that the people you're talking about see veganism as a diet, and therefore they may be extremely restrictive with what they're eating. But there is a way to eat plant-based and vegan that is extremely healthy. And I mean, there are a lot of testaments to this. And I also have seen the videos that you're talking about. Yep. And it's usually an insane switch up. It goes from one end to the extreme other end, like raw meat. And I think that there is a lot to be said about consumerism and social media behind a lot of these specific testimonies that you're referencing. And I think that if you were to really do the research, it wouldn't come from people's stories on the internet. It comes from research articles by the National Health Institute and Harvard and other research institutes. And veganism and a plant-based diet has been shown to reduce the overall risk of mortality and a million other heart disease, cardiovascular disease.
It didn't for me, so I
believe you and your story, and I acknowledge your story.
Referring these studies on veganism, have you read any on the other side?
I have. Just recently graduated college, and I got my degree in sustainability, and one of the entire sections...
Oh, God. Got your degree in nothing. What the fuck? Dude, I always say this. If you're gonna go to college, get a degree that makes money. Get a degree that makes money. It doesn't make sense paying so much money to get a degree in fine arts. What the fuck are you doing? Just get a pen and a paper and draw, bro. Like, what are you doing?
We had in one of my sustainability politics of conservation class was discussing with hunters and looking at all of these articles in depth. So even if I wanted to be biased, I was forced to look at it from an unbiased perspective to obtain my...
I mean, you could still be biased. I mean, you could still be biased and just see it as wrong or incorrect or not. You know what I'm saying? I've done that.
I wish more people did that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't very nice to make that assumption about me.
No, I was asking a question. That's not. I didn't assume anything. I was just asking innocently. I was just curious. To have this style of life, as you guys so eloquently put it, this style of life, there has to be death. It's just how it is. And I know that hurts your guys' feelings or whatever.
In their style of life, there has to be death. And there's nothing that you can eat that doesn't involve killing something, you know?
The case is, but it isn't, like I said earlier, it's a necessary evil.
I agree that there has to be death in order to support any lifestyle and any food chain, and I know there is death that goes into the crops that I buy at the grocery store, but I think that it is important to cause the least amount of death possible. So that makes me wonder is the meat that you hunt the only thing you eat, or do you also buy produce from the grocery store? Because if so, you're causing death from those vegetables and death from...
I'm not arguing that.
Yes.
What? So what are we doing? Now we out here disavowing life? What are we saying? It's not causing any more death. They're dead. I'm just eating them now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not causing death. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the bringer of doom and destruction. Like, you eat vegetables, they die. I eat animals, they die. The life is equivalent to one another, or I mean, to me they're not, but I mean,
so I don't think
in your
my
food
that death
circle,
is
it would be
less death.
It's a generalization. I'm sorry if I put that on you incorrectly.
Well, I don't think any vegan thinks that really. It's just less death.
Okay, that's fair.
It's not the absence of
death.
No,
that's totally fair. I mean, I wasn't referring to like plant death, which is obviously a thing as well, but.
You're watching Twitch. It's the finals, and the play of the game is coming. They make the move, the crowd goes wild, but you missed it because of an ad. Here's how to make sure that never happens again. This is Pi.
To answer your question, no, as I said before, I feed my family probably 90% stuff that I've taken in the field, or my kids or my wife. We all do this to support our family. We grow a garden in the back. We harvest our own vegetables. I keep what I buy at the store to a very, very low, because I don't want to keep harping on factory farming, because we all agree that that's not ideal, right?
At one point you referred to factory farming as a necessary evil.
Yeah, for some, yes.
So and that kind of answered my question for you. I guess one question I have is, would you all support shutting down all industrial slaughterhouses and all industrial factory farms.
Fuck no. What are we gonna replace them with? What are we gonna replace them with? The nothing burger we have the nothing burger we have running up?
Would you support phasing those facilities out?
Phasing
I
them
wouldn't
out?
say phasing out necessarily, but definitely
probably making them more humane.
Looking at the way things are done in a more humane way, I guess.
I'm glad you said that because when it comes to humane, you know, we talk about honoring the animal and this and that. So
how you honor the plants when you kill
we
them?
have to understand that we're not in that animal's mind or that animal's spirit. We're just thinking.
Who gives a flying absolute shit, dude? Oh, dude, this, I hate the moral argument between life and death. You kill everything. Everything dies, bro. Who cares?
Almost to try to cure my disease. And I wish that they wouldn't. And I know that it's going to drastically shorten my lifespan. To me, it's not about the vegan ideology. It's about animals' lives and their lives.
What
are
about
real.
your health?
Their
I'm
lives are
curious
not an
where your health
ideology.
plays into
Sure,
this.
I get your question. I just wanted to clarify that first, that it's not just an abstract ideology. It's a real life or death matter for real animals. And that's what we're talking about today. And so much suffering for real
Such a
animals.
stupid ass argument.
I will say, you know, I live with a chronic illness and a disability. It's an autoimmune disease, and
asthma.
There are people who do test on animals to try to cure my disease, and I wish that they wouldn't. And I know that it's going to drastically shorten my lifespan, most likely.
Say the name of the
if I
disease,
continue
please.
to live with this disease.
Is it a
but I
cancer
still
or
do
is
not
it
think
asthma?
That it is okay for animals to be experimented on in laboratories to cure my disease, because I do not believe that my life is worth more than theirs, and I don't think that they should have to suffer for me.
Vegans are better human beings than meat eaters.
In what fucking capacity? Bro, that's so crazy! That's so crazy! My life is not worth more than any other animal's, but my life is worth more than you. What the crazy! Crazy! How are you better than being a human? I eat plants, but how does what you eat make you a better human being? That's fucking ridiculous, dude.
I think what this comes down to is what we define as a good human being.
No, it really doesn't. It comes down to the fact that you're stupid, dude. It really comes down to that fact, because any definition that you could possibly come up with would be inconsequential, really. Would be stupid as shit. What are you actually talking about? What are you actually talking about? Because your shit comes out green, you think you're a better human being than anyone else, bro?
At the end of the day, I don't see, for instance, trapping animals, killing animals, using animals for our own human gain as a kind, good, and just thing to do. And my definition of veganism is taking a stance that rejects all sorts of exploitation for all animals.
For all animals. What about people? What about people? You know, people have to work those soybean crop that you want so badly. That Impossible Burger was very possible somewhere. Somebody gotta make it possible. You know what I'm saying?
I think that if we as humans can't accept the principle that other animals are not ours to use and exploit, then we aren't just and we aren't good.
I agree. I believe that there can be exceptions, and I think they're extremely rare. Like if somebody was on the brink of death and it was proven—
On the brink of fucking death. That is your exception. That is insane. That is an insane exception to have.
To only be because they're eating a vegan diet, or if they're living in indigenous societies where, even if it's part of their culture, I don't fully support that, but if
What the Bro, that's insane! That's insane! Oh my gosh, on some Christopher Columbus shit, going to the natives and saying you're wrong, you're savages. You're eating animals, you're savages. You're dogs. Oh, I gotta civilize these native people.
type of land that's not fertile to grow crops or harvest crops, these people could be exceptions. But I think
Oh
that
my
not
gosh.
taking a stand against oppression is always going to make you a worse
These
person than someone else.
savage natives.
When I think of being kind to animals, I think of all the animals that are used in various ways today as we're speaking. There's animals that are forced to perform into circuses and are beaten with—
Oh yeah, and those animals that made your fucking clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many
Bullhooks
animals that
and
we
whips
use.
to get them to be submissive
No,
and perform.
silk.
There's animals confined to
Well,
battery
I guess if
cages
your clothes are
drowning
made
in their
of
own
wool,
feces.
that would be the only
so humans
exception.
are able to consume
not really.
their rotting dead bodies. And this in no
You can have
way
a belt.
shows kindness or
Unless it's a
compassion if
leather,
we make
vegan
the
leather
choice
belt.
to support these types of this type of abuse and exploitation. We all have a choice to be vegan, to make the right choice, and to reject this rampant, horrific, hideous animal abuse that is happening all around us.
I don't think that being a vegan just makes you a good person because you care about animals. I think that a vegan is, I mean, you cannot care at all about animals, but you reject oppression. You're not going to go pay for the systemic slaughter of another individual's life for self-benefit, and I think that objectively that makes you a better person than somebody who's going to pay for that when they have a choice not to.
All right, can the disagreeer step forward?
Vegans are, dude, this type of veganism is absolutely the most toxic form. That shit is so bad, bro. Talking about other people as if they're less than. Talking about native tribes and saying you are savage, you are literally less than, you're a savage because of what you do and the way you practice. That's insane. Colonial mindset to the extreme.
I don't think being a good person has really anything to do with your diet or what you're putting in your body. I mean, there's good people on both sides of the deal. You don't have to. What I look at as a good person is somebody that does the right thing in their mind. I mean, I know what you're going to say, but the right thing for me and the right thing for you are obviously not the same thing, right? Will you argue that?
I would argue you to answer the question, what's right for the animals?
That's not what we're...
Who gives a fuck? Who gives an absolute flying fuck? Who gives a fuck about what's right for the animals? I'm doing what's right for myself and then morally what's right for the people around me. Who gives a shit about the animals in fucking Guatemala? Who like the howling monkeys in Africa? Who gives a shit?
I'm talking about right now.
I think that's what's important to discuss, though, because they're the ones that are victims in this situation. And
everyone's a fucking victim in this situation. People, animals, you know what I'm saying? Everyone's a fucking victim in this situation. It doesn't. There's no non-victims. Plants.
Ones that are being used.
What we're talking about is being a good person. There are good people on both sides of the coin. It doesn't matter what you put in your body to get to there. You're a person. You're alive. You can be a good person. You can be a great person. It has nothing to do with what you eat.
So if we eat another human being, but everything else we do is completely moral, does it make us a good person? If it has
Depending on the circumstances, yes. Depending on the circumstances, yes. You know.
To do with what we eat. I mean, the animal didn't want to die, that person didn't want to die. I just personally don't see the difference.
And the main takeaway here is that you do have a choice. You don't have to support this type of violence and cruelty, but yet people do.
Okay.
And I don't consider that good.
That's
and
fine.
I would not consider that being a good
like I said
person.
before, that's your opinion. You're allowed to have an opinion. So am I. And me sitting here, I'm not forcing my opinion on you. I really don't care what you think about me. I don't care what you think about what I do.
Do you consider killing an animal a good thing to do?
If it's needed, yes.
Is it needed for you?
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
I would argue that it's not needed for you because you have choices to make,
but
and
you
you
don't know my
continue to make the bad choice.
Well,
Which
you're sitting in the Jubilee studio in Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
So I feel like you probably have access to a grocery store.
So it's better.
Whoa. So that's where you're getting your plants from? You're getting your plants from a grocery store? You know what they be doing to animals? To get those fucking crops, chat. I already said I wasn't gonna make that argument.
For me to go to the grocery store and buy a hamburger package that was killed by somebody, God knows where.
Hunting is better than buying meat from the grocery store, but I choose to not eat either kind of
That's
meat.
fine, and that's your choice.
Right, and it's fine for you to have your opinion and me to have my opinion,
100%.
but the reason that one person feels more passionately about it than the other is because one person's choices has victims and the other one's doesn't.
May I chime in?
Chat, whenever you see a person that doesn't agree with what you're saying, I want you to take a second and force your beliefs upon them. Force your beliefs upon them. All right, chat? It doesn't matter on what. If they're different, if they talk differently than you, if they look differently than you, force your beliefs until they become assimilated or exterminated. Forget conditions, forget scenarios, force your beliefs upon them. If it helps, get yourself an Inquisitor outfit, get yourself a Conquistador outfit, put yourself in the uniform. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're forcing your beliefs upon somebody, make yourself at least feel holier than thou. You know what I'm saying? Make yourself feel more powerful. You know, I would hate for you to feel any less than, or God forbid, equal to that person.
I'd love
you know?
to add an angle. So when I was on your side. For 6 years, I was on your side. So I completely understand where you guys are coming from, where you see this cruelty happening to all of these animals in these factory farms.
Oh shit, chat. I'll cut out for a little bit.
There are other victims that I could just list right now when I was vegan, because I was having crazy temper tantrums. My mood was this.
Okay, I really don't give a fuck. But there are other victims in veganism. Dude, there's so many. It really doesn't matter. I eat one thing and you eat two things. That means you kill more than me. Not necessarily. I mean, you could eat way more of that one thing than I eat both of these two things, and now you're killing way more than me. Or I can have a balanced meal requiring me to eat equal to what you're eating of that one thing. It doesn't really matter, does it?
I could not think.
Or I could be eating more than you, but it doesn't fucking matter. And at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter.
Great, because I was having so much brain fog. Victims could include my own mom.
I hate this argument. I hate the personal antidote argument. The personal antidote argument is like such an unverifiable argument.
Resources to growing young minds. Peace Corps volunteers serve bold.
Currently vegan, but I think that they were good people before that. And I mean, I was torn on this prompt because.
How were you torn?
I do think when we get to like ranking who's a better person or a worse person, it's just kind of dangerous territory that I don't love, because I think good people can do bad things.
Correct. And so that was what I wanted to tap on, because the one reason that allows me to really impact many lives is because I've never been that type of individual to punish people for not doing what I do. Exactly. It's never been my thing. But I always like to come at them with a sense of meeting them where they are, because if we say a good person is this, then if you weren't raised that way, you're saying your parents were inherently bad. They were bad because they were eating meat, and then they didn't know about it until later on, because even my parents, my mom was a vegetarian vegan. So if she wasn't, I wouldn't consider her a bad person, because I have plenty of my family who are like that. They see me as this anomaly, like, I don't know how you do it, but you look good. You're definitely getting your protein. But I'm not gonna say, you know what, because
it's called
you
trend,
out
but
eating and killing
a different
animals,
type of protein, I guess.
I don't like you, but they're family. So I can still make an example and allow them to consider their choices, because that has happened.
Kind of what you said, which is also, I guess, my issue with the prompt kind of zoomed out, is this idea of, comparing each other's morality, because it's like, yes, you may not consume, an animal product, but there are choices that each person makes that does contribute to a larger systemic issue that is inherently immoral. Last time you bought a phone, oh, that was mined for minerals from the Congo. Last time you bought gold jewelry, oh, that's from the genocide.
The Congo again.
And just with our taxes, as regard to Palestine. So there are things that we do that we have to exist
Yeah, you said regards to Palestine, but what about the dogs in Palestine? You know what I'm saying? What about the butterfly flying through Palestine? What about the rat? You know what I'm saying? What does the rat have to eat? You know what I'm saying? We're not really getting to the bare bones of the situation.
That we are currently in.
Like, who gives a shit, dog?
That we can all start to measure up morality.
Yeah, I mean, I am against colonialism and I'm against capitalism. This is literally what I got my degree in, and I think
you got your degree in against colonialism, against capitalism. Hey, bro. Chat, if you ever want to pay me $10 to $100,000 to get your degree in against colonialism and against capitalism, I will get your degree in 1 semester. All I'm asking for is $10,000 to $100,000, maybe even more, depending on how far do you want to go in against colonialism, against capitalism. You know, I promise you, you'll be able to utilize that degree on things like Jubilee and Discord and Reddit. These are big, huge platforms, millions of viewers, millions of users that you can argue against.
There are a lot of changes that everybody could make in their daily life to make them a better person. And I think that some of those changes we can't make right now because the system is...
What? Yes, you can make. You don't have to buy a phone. Come on, dude. You can make your own clothes. You can make your own shoes. You don't have to buy jewelry. That silver doesn't have to come from the Congo, but you just wanted a pendant. You know, you thought it looked cute. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not cute. Those children mining that gold, that silver.
Disables our free choice. But I just think that if somebody has the same ability to make choices as me and they're choosing to buy...
No, those tribes people you said were savages, at least guess where they're not getting their clothes from? You know what I'm saying? It's from Bangladesh factory. You know what I'm saying? From Temu factory. You know what I'm saying? At least they can ethically source their clothes from the forest. You know what I'm saying? These are real ethical warriors, you know?
A slaughtered animal's corpse. There's nothing good about that. And
who cares?
I fail to see how that doesn't make you a worse person than someone who's not doing that.
I mean, who gives a fuck?
I can see myself switch to the other side.
Fuck no. Not with these not with these Nimrods on the other side. I could see myself doing it, not with these Nimrods though. Such a horrible position. You guys have such a horrible position,
you know,
bro.
Diet is not so black and white. I think like when it comes to what you're eating, it's really about the quality of what you're eating and the intention behind why you're eating it, right? So I'm just gonna paint 2 extreme examples. Let's take a vegan who's living out in the lush environment, maybe along the equator, maybe walks barefoot every day, sees the sun.
Along the equator. What happens if it was above the equator?
And is growing this beautiful mango tree that is grown on good soil, receives good sunlight, and they're in a good community.
This
So
idealistic
this person
human.
who's eating this fresh mango off the tree, you know, living a very vibrant life. On the other hand, let's take like a corporate city person who's working a 9 to 5, who's sedentary, exposed to constant blue light, who during lunchtime goes through a drive-through, orders a 20 McChicken McNugget chicken nuggets, and is sitting in his car hunched over watching a video on his phone, not even grateful for the food, not even knowing where it comes from. Like, I would say mango eaters probably living a more vibrant, healthy life. So I think it's about like where you're living, the quality of your food, the intention behind it. And I think it's important to not stay dogmatic in your diet. I think that was one of my mistakes when I was vegan, was me thinking like, this is the way, this is the only way, and if this doesn't work out, then I'm doing something wrong, right? And so I came to a point where I had to let go of the vegan hat, the vegan glasses, stop seeing everything through the lens of veganism and prioritize my health, because that's truly what it came down to. Now that I'm eating raw meat, I don't wanna just like unpack my bags and say this is the only way and this is how everyone should eat. I think it's just like you take feedback from your body day by day. You understand a little bit deeper about nutrition, about diet, about your body, about the world. And with that information, you make tiny adjustments on the way.
I mean, I could see myself like indulging into a vegan diet. As kind of like I've hammered, there are, from an ideological standpoint, I do agree with a lot of principles of veganism. I think for me, like I try to limit how much like meat I purchase, I consume. I try to dial it back and like kind of wean myself off. As frequent as like I used to be, I do still like occasionally and will be like, oh, I want some chorizo, or I want some tacos. Like it's there's
Good for the soul.
it's yeah, indulging in soul food and things like there are
And soul food? What kind of soul
I
food?
will pivot to that because I mean, one, like it is what I grew up with, and just culturally, like what like the meals we would always make, or what's always present, like at like the cookout and stuff like that. But I wouldn't go as so far to say like, oh, I'll never go like vegan entirely. I think I could definitely see myself moving towards that, especially with like the opposition we have to just a greater systemic issue that our current consumption like patterns are within society.
All right, can the disagreeer step forward?
Personally, I can't imagine myself ever eating an animal, and I think, yeah, it's just hard for me to imagine. I've dedicated so much of my life now to rescuing animals, and some of my closest friends are non-human animals, and I just couldn't disconnect myself from that to actually engage in eating an animal's dead body. It's just completely unimaginable to me. Animal liberation is what I believe in with every fiber of my being, and I've been arrested 8 times fighting for animal rights. I have investigated factory farms.
Dude, it's so crazy, bro, that like, hey man, I already said what I need to say.
And slaughterhouses across the country. This is my life, and I'm going to continue fighting for animal liberation until the day I die.
I think for me, it took me
to the day
getting to the point in my health where it was debilitating. And I bring this up because a lot of people who eat meat again after going vegan, they will never go back to vegan because it just doesn't help their health.
When I investigate these facilities, I engage in disease testing. So I'll take a deceased animal or fecal samples out of these facilities, and I'll send them off to a laboratory for testing. And over again, we find they are filled with dangerous bacteria and diseases that are zoonotic and can spread to humans, and are especially putting my life at risk as someone who's immunocompromised, and putting other chronically ill people's lives at risk. And obviously, you know, there's a lot of scientific evidence that
what
dairy and
employment
other
do you
animal
actually have?
cause autoimmune disease.
Yes.
Because it seems like a job that keeps getting you arrested is not very it's not a very good job, or you're not very good at the job. You know what I'm saying? It could be a job, but I don't see the financial gain from
Studies
doing
may
this.
say one thing, but do they really say it caused it, right? So let's not make these blanket statements. You love talking about black and white. It really is not black and white. Just because I'm now only eating meat doesn't mean everybody else has to. Don't make that assumption.
Sure, and I hear that, but what is black and white is an animal's life, or their
Not really.
them losing their life. That is black and white.
It could be nuanced. They could have died of old age. Well, I guess it is black and white. What's the difference? You die of old age, you die right now, who cares?
Not black and white to me, because if it is at the expense of my health and my mental health, that's where it does become gray for me. It is a hard pill to swallow, I get, because you guys dedicate your lives to this.
Pill.
But for me, I saw clearly when my health deteriorated, and you cannot discredit all the people who also felt the same.
My entire life, I was not vegan. I was not vegetarian my entire life.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, you might just have to jump off a cliff. You might have to jump off a cliff and bring your body back to nature so those animals can have their revenge.
Ate animal products. And I came to the conscious decision
I'm gonna throw up.
That it is in my power to not eat animal products or animal flesh, like most people have the ability to choose. And I stopped, and I realized that's wrong. And I would never, ever go back to harming any animal when there's no need for me to do so. Does it take effort to make a conscious choice when society's default is to eat these animal products that are being, you know, massively promoted by these large industries? Sure, it can be difficult, but is it worthwhile, and does it meaningfully impact the lives of animals who are suffering?
I really don't give a fuck though. That's the problem. It's hard for me to actually care. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like like, I'm not in the animal's head. Maybe an animal is depressed and they want to die. You know what I'm saying? And I'm doing it a favor by eating it.
Every single day? Absolutely.
Maybe the animal's dream was to become a chicken nugget. I don't know.
That's what's important to remember.
We got some
There are
animals on
also
some freaky timing.
vegans who would choose an animal's life over their own health. I've never been put in that situation, so I can't honestly tell you what my decision would be. But there are people who believe if they were on a deserted island with just a pig, they would let themselves die because they didn't.
What? You think if I'm on a deserted island, I'm going to die because the animal is going to feel... The animal... What the fuck is the animal going to... You think the animal gives a shit? The animal is probably thinking the same thing, like, oh, bro, I better eat your ass before you eat me. You know what I'm saying?
It's their right to take any other being's life.
What? 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 You think that... So you think the animal's gonna do the same? They're not equal. The animal doesn't give a shit about you. He don't care. They don't give a fuck. Hell no.
I mean, in terms of health, if my health was deteriorating, I'm inclined to believe that I would let it deteriorate rather than eat animals.
You would let...
Dude, you're dealing with some insane people right now. We're dealing with some insane people right now. This is like the spectrum you're dealing is like eco-terrorist level of, there's like ISIS level of insane right now. There's like suicide bomber level of insane right now. There's I'm going to kill myself for the greater good type shit. This is insane. This is insane. The second your lifestyle goes against self-preservation, it becomes obsolete. Your lifestyle can't be good because it kills you.
Yourself deteriorate.
That's what I believe I would do.
Oh, well, shit. Believe and believe.
Right now. When I was in this situation, I can't answer honestly because I've never been in this situation.
Dude, it's insane. It's insane. I wonder if you would do the same if there was a person on... So if there was a person on this island, right? And there was you, pig, person, right? Would you kill the person before you kill the pig? Or would you die and then let the person eat you and the pig? Or would you kill the person and then feed them to the pig? Like, how the fuck is this
But
working?
when the prompt asks if I could ever imagine myself eating animals, that's the reason I answered no. Because I imagine myself letting myself die before I ate an animal.
Hey.
That's where we
felt
disagree
like
then.
Yeah, that it seems fucking insane and crazy because it is. It's absolutely insane and it's absolutely delusional. That shit is insane. But then again, I'm gonna eat a burger, so like, shit. You know what? I'm gonna eat 2 burgers, one for you, one for me. You know what I'm saying?
Sink in my gut because it's
I'm
like...
gonna kill double times just because the effort you make. I'm gonna eliminate that effort. I'm gonna eliminate that effort, bro.
You really don't value your life enough.
Because that's how much of a hater I am, chat. That's how much of a hater I am. I see you trying to do something, you think you're gonna make a difference. I'm gonna neutralize that difference.
Human supremacist.
I'm going.
But it's
a human supremacist? Yeah, dog. It's called my life. I am a human supremacist. If a lion was starving, the lion's gonna eat me. You know why? Because the lion's a lion supremacist. Everything is a itself supremacist. You know what I'm saying?
Life. This is like your...
There's no
like
need.
you don't value...
Yeah, she doesn't value her life. She does not give a fuck.
yourself. You don't value...
If she doesn't value her life, why do I care? I don't even know you. If you die tomorrow, I don't care.
I love myself.
Do you though? Do you though? Because you said you were gonna kill. You would die before you would eat a.
I value my life greatly, but not at the expense of somebody else's.
You have 30 minutes to finish your assignment.
That's
you realize the problems
insane.
are not easy, and it's difficult to find the exact information.
Privileged.
Veganism is a privilege. Veganism is indefinite a privilege. Because there are, like she said, tribal societies or people out there with certain conditions that don't allow for this type of lifestyle. There are privilege. Limiting yourself to one way or another, saying that eating meat is a privilege, or saying living your lifestyle to a certain degree of selective choice, it becomes a privilege.
I personally believe a vegan diet, if you actually want to thrive and be healthy on this lifestyle, it's not cheap. It is not the most affordable diet at all. And I will tell you, being a carnivore, eating only meat, eating only animal foods, my grocery bill is less than when I was shopping for vegan. So I recognize that to eat only plants and only fruits and only grains and all of these starches, the grocery bills add up. So that's why I do believe that you do have to be quite privileged, especially if you want to feed your family as well, to be able to afford a vegan diet and also thrive on it.
There is like an accessibility discussion just from socioeconomics of affordability, as we kind of talked about before, food deserts as well. Like there are these realities and nuances to it that should be acknowledged. And I personally am not too familiar with typical cost of having a vegan diet. I've always had meat in some aspect within my diet. That is, what we grew up with, and it was often the cheaper option. And as I buy my groceries now as an adult, I mean, it's definitely what I go to in terms of like, oh, calorie and nutrients per dollar kind of thing in my head. I do acknowledge that I do have a lot of ignorance towards like the nutrition aspect of it. Of a vegan diet. I've never had those like resources or taken the time, I guess I should say, to access those resources.
All right, can the disagreeer step forward?
I want to start off by saying that a vegan diet and a plant-based diet is vastly cheaper than one that relies on animal flesh and secretions. Pasta, beans, potatoes, bread, lettuce. All of these items are usually very affordable and
yeah, but you have to get, like they said, there are areas where there are food deserts, and then you have to go outside your means. And then if you want to be an ethical person, then you have to pay more for that ethically sourced things. And then if you don't want pesticides, then you have to pay more for those organic things. These are things that are not economically sustainable for everybody or every lifestyle. And to say like, oh, this is cheap, speaks to an ignorance of how other people, or the wealth gap between you and other people.
Staples in most of our diets, I would assume. The real privilege that comes into play with this prompt is the fact that some people think they are privileged enough to take another's life.
You are taking a plant's life, and I hate to harp on this so much. This life argument is a foolish and ridiculous argument. It's a foolish and ridiculous argument. You're going to kill a plant. You would have to kill way more beans to get the same amount of protein than you killing one animal. You know what I'm saying? The life equation doesn't add up. You know what I'm saying? But besides that stupid ass argument, there are areas, like he said, food deserts. There are areas where if you're trying to get the best, most sustainably sourced plants out there, because if you don't know anything about how plants are grown, most of them are grown on like a plantation. And plantations are not known for their biodiversity. Plantations are often occupied or originally occupied by biodiversity in animals. And you would have to burn those down to grow, I'm saying soybeans a lot because soybeans are the main perpetrators of, destruction. If you really care about animals, this is something that is something that you should really think about. Soybeans do kill a lot of animals, they do kill a lot of plants, and they do destroy a ton of biodiverse areas. And in order to grow these things without using, I don't know if you give a shit about humans, but not using slave labor and not using, making sure everyone's treated equally that are growing these plants, because they're not growing out from the thin air of nothing, not growing out from the fucking ether, you know what I'm saying? Like, in order to get these highly organic, non-pesticide filled, and not like GMO controlled plants, you would have to pay a lot more. And going to stuff like Whole Foods. Whole Foods is not fucking cheap, dude. I went to go get a damn chocolate bar that was like $5. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Chocolate bar laced with fentanyl?
When they have other options available to them.
I'm not sure that's a definition of privilege she's talking about.
I would say in this situation, when we're talking about privilege as a whole and being privileged enough, quote unquote, to have a vegan diet, the real privilege we should be talking about in this group discussion is the privilege people feel that they're able to and entitled to.
No, dude, it's the privilege that you are economically sound to sustain life. Not everyone's a fucking suicide bomber like you and want to kill themselves because they want to see Bambi. You know, Bambi's gonna appreciate. Bambi doesn't give a shit if you live or die. You know what I'm saying? Bambi doesn't know you. It's crazy to think that you're doing some greater good out in this world by killing one thing instead of killing a different thing. And that the only difference between these two lives is that one has eyes, ears, and a mouth. You know what I'm saying? The other has roots and a stem. And it both in either scenario would end in one dying.
To buy animal products from these animals that have suffered.
So you have to, and that's what I'm saying. You have the privilege. You feel like you're privileged enough to kill this thing, but you're not. But this other thing has more of a privilege of a life than this other thing.
And when
it doesn't make any sense.
Privilege, the opposite thing is being oppressed, right? So access to high quality nutrient-dense food is used as a tool of oppression. So I'm Vietnamese, and my parents are immigrants from Vietnam. They lived there throughout the height of the war. And so living in a third world country, especially during a tough time, meant that good food was rare. Meat was a luxury. People were pretty much forced against their will to go vegan. Vegan options such as rice, potatoes, wheat, nuts, dried fruits, maybe some veggies, that was all they had access to or could afford. And you see this throughout history in many other countries during times of war. What happens? There's heavy food rationing. Heavy food rations specifically on the nutrient-dense foods such as meat, eggs, and dairy, because these foods are reserved for the people on the front lines, for the people who have the resources or the connections to get them. And then for everyone else, us ordinary citizens, us peasants, we're forced to eat the cheap fillers, the corn, the soy, the rice, the wheat, the potatoes, the fruits and veggies. And so it just goes to show during times of oppression, meat is a privilege. The vegan diet is forced upon people and is the unfortunate, harsh reality for people who are actually oppressed.
That's how I looked at it when I saw privilege. I was like, meat clearly was considered a privilege. You know, you had to be king and queens to eat that. The peasants were supposed to eat like, you know, just bread and things of that nature. And, you know, you had the Daniel fast, the Daniel diet.
Yeah, but nowadays it's more like king and queens eat more healthily. You know what I'm saying? You have more of a healthy. It's not switched to where meat has become less expensive, but have switched to where things like fast food, like McDonald's and all these other things are not. They're not. You know, they're not something of high value, high nutritional value, or provide any real value to yourself. And during in these I want to say during times of need, but I would say in these times of economic distress, people are more likely to go to McDonald's and all these other fast food joints because I'm focused on feeding myself so I don't feel hungry, not feeding myself for some other ethical reason. You know what I'm saying? And this is what plays into food deserts and all these other things. Yes, during these times where there was war or when there was an immense amount of poverty, plants were eaten due to the fact that plants were more widely available. You know what I'm saying? It was just more widely available. So this is what was grown the most. This is what could be grown the most. You know,
all these different things. Meat was not even considered there. It was more so, like I said, it was of privilege. So when I heard the prompt, that's the first thing that came to my mind was, clearly, meat is considered a privilege.
First of all, vegan diet to the average American citizen isn't more expensive. I literally live in a trailer with 3 dogs. I am on EBT food stamps, and I eat 140 grams of protein a day. I track everything I eat, and I would say I spend less than $8 a day on my groceries. A block of tofu has 90 calories to 10 grams of protein, costs $1.75, and there's 5 servings of that in each block that costs $1.75. And
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. It depends on where you live and where you want to get the tofu. Like I said, if you want to go get the cheap shit, just, you know what I'm saying? Don't expect where you're getting it from to be some fucking heaven on earth. You know what I'm saying? But people that actually care about life in general usually don't want to get something that is, you know, unethical or, you know, sourced from unethical places. And being able to choose where you eat and what you eat is a privilege. When people are saying you're forced into a vegan diet or forced to eating plants, there was no choice. If there was more, you know, when people were to eat food or people were to get meat, they would have to get the worst scraps of meat. They would have to get like feet and head and things of this nature, like these scraps of meat that people wouldn't usually eat, because those were the cheaper kinds of meat. These were the things that were readily available, but you know, those are the things you could afford.
The cheapest groceries throughout history have been rice and beans, which are both full of nutrients, and also soy, which you call a filler food, even though it's a complete protein.
Actually, you initially said, and you made your point, that there's no way eating animal flesh is going to be cheaper than eating only plants. So the difference for me is when I eat only plants, I feel hungry about 30 minutes after I ate. When I eat only meat, I feel hungry same time next day. So in my head, when I do the math, I'm actually spending less actual dollars on my grocery bills because I need less food, because meat is so nutrient dense. And I will confirm that, yes, my vegan diet grocery bills were cheaper than now my carnivore diet grocery bills. And that's exactly what's happening there. That's why.
That isn't true for everybody. I mean, I get 13,000 steps a day, and I'm a weightlifter. I'm in the gym for 1 to 2 hours.
Weightlifter? What are you lifting? Jesus Christ. Skin and
Single
bone.
day. And I'm not hungry after I eat. I mean, I eat nutritious protein-packed options like tempeh, seitan, and tofu that leave
Yeah, all that shit
me
sounds like
feeling
slave
full.
labor to me.
And there is a poor way to eat a vegan diet that doesn't leave you feeling full, and I believe that might be what you were experiencing if you had that.
I ate a Whole Foods plant-based diet.
Whole Foods is fucking expensive. Whole Foods is, and what I was talking about is fucking Whole Foods. Whole Foods is
It's not
fucking
necessarily healthy, though. I don't think that Whole Foods plant-based is
So you're saying
baseline
eating
great.
seitan and what else? What's the other
Yeah,
process?
do you know what
Tofu
seitan is made out of?
I do know what it is. It has a
It's
very long
fermented
ingredients
beans.
list. And tofu is healthy for you?
Yeah,
Not at
it's
all.
processed
There's so many
soybeans.
GMOs. It's
Tofu,
not good for you.
That's not true. Tofu is a staple in plenty of Asian cultures that's been around
I'm
for
Asian.
thousands of years.
It's not good for your health.
It's not good depending on where you get it from. But chat, we're gonna leave it off like that, man. We're gonna leave it off saying that, man, at the end of the day, you know, maybe we can't get along. Maybe you should, next time you look at your neighbor, discriminate against them viciously, violently, throw rocks at them. You know, until they change their ways and assimilate to your life or are exterminated. Man, we're gonna leave that off, man. We're gonna go. Thank y'all for watching.